You're listening to Just a Pinch podcast with Injector Kristen. Join me and industry experts as we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the aesthetics, wellness, and fitness industries. Hi, so I'm super excited for this episode of Just a Pinch podcast with Injector Kristen. I have the beautiful and talented and intelligent and checks all the boxes Alison Capra on with me today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So Allie and I met back in 2014, was it?
Yeah,
When was Kansas
2014.
City? 2014?
I met you the same year as I met Nick, my husband,
Yes,
Nick.
absolutely. So I flew out to Kansas City, Missouri, Allie's hometown, and did
Yes.
a tactical pistol course with her now husband's company was Survival Tactical Systems at the time, STS. And had a
Yes.
fantastic weekend, met super cool people. And I mean, we clearly hit it off enough. Here we are in 2022, still keeping on, keeping on. So Allie and Nick,
Yes.
just for a little background, super into fitness, wellness, just being strong, important, good people. So just being the most well-rounded, good people. That's the best way I can do it is be a good person. And that's what you guys are doing. You guys are checking off all the boxes on just not being waste of space in this society.
That is accurate. I think that's probably one of my number one goals. Don't
Yes.
take up space.
Exactly. Don't just be an oxygen sucker. So one
Yeah.
of the main reasons I really wanted to have you on is, not just to go over, your fitness journey, because you've had a heck of a journey and many different side journeys off of that. But I am so just impressed with your overall mental toughness and ability to commit to things. And I think that that is a huge piece of where people in all walks of life really struggle with whatever goals they're trying to achieve is that mental toughness and that commitment. And I think that you are just absolutely kicking ass and taking names when it comes to your commitment to things.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, it really does take a ton, to do all the things that you want to do with your life. And I can say for the first probably 15 years of my adulthood, I wasn't. I was just taking up space and probably making life worse for a lot of people and, just being kind of wild. And all I really cared about was having fun. And so it was like whatever I could do to have more fun was like, that
Mhm.
was the goal.
When
So
did
I
when did
think,
fitness
as I
really
got a
become
little
a
bit,
part?
yeah, I think really as I got a little bit older, I started to take myself a little bit more seriously. Nick and I have had this conversation. I think as a young person, I really kind of like idolized like all the fun, rowdy women that were in front of us in the 90s. And I just
Mhm.
like wanted to be one of them.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books by Elizabeth Wurzel. She also did Prozac Nation, but she did a book called Praise of Difficult Women. And it was just like about how kind of all the characters that were put in front of us in the 90s and how we kind of like even the crazy ones, even like Lorena Bobbitt and shit. We like put them on a pedestal and idolize the scenarios. And like, it was just something I was just wanted to have fun. And so I did.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like my whole entire goal in my early 20s and into my 30s. And so as I got a little older and time kind of started to catch up with me and I started to look older and feel older. And I was like, I think I need to do something different. I don't think my life can revolve around just like partying and my looks anymore. I think I got to go
Totally.
to a different direction.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I feel like a lot of us do reach a certain age, and it's a different age for everybody, where you really take an inventory of your life and yourself, and you realize how much more is needed on a deeper level in making yourself just a better person to be to yourself and to be to your family and your friends, and to just be more helpful as a human being and to live a more valued life.
And it makes you go, okay, like, wow, I wasted a lot of time. Like I look back and I'm like, gosh, dog, I feel like I wasted a lot of time just like
Yeah.
chasing like love and attention and all these
Yeah.
things. But ultimately, like it taught me a lot about myself and kind of getting to where I am now to kind of go through all that
Hmm.
and kind of having to figure everything out the hard way, you know. But yeah, here I am.
Here you are, kicking
This
ass
is
and
my
taking
third
names.
marriage.
Third
What's that?
marriage. That's so impressive to me. Third one and the best one, right?
Oh, so.
Well, you guys are a heck of
It
a
feels like the
team.
best one.
Yeah, you guys are a heck of a team, and I really look up to you two as a couple, for just how balanced you guys seem to be together. And like, you're clearly a team. It's not you versus him and you living your life and him living his and you guys trying to just make it work together. It's like every day seems to be intertwined together, and not in a weird codependent way, but in just a genuine supportive team. And everything you guys do together seems to be out of love and out of a common goal of making each other better.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of one of the things I think that's like now the key component that I like anybody who asks me, like, okay, well, what do you think about relationships or what do you, what is your, you've been married 3 times. What do you have to say about, and honestly, the only thing I can tell people is that because I don't have any expert advice other than find somebody who is just as like obsessed with working on themselves and bettering themselves as you are. And if you find that person that's just as interested in like being self-aware and being like the best version of themselves, really like it never stops changing and evolving and growing. I think probably the hardest part about getting in a relationship when you're young, because I got married the first time at 19.
Wow.
I think the hardest part of getting married and being like in a relationship that's serious when you're that young is that you grow up together.
Yes.
And if you don't grow together, then you'll grow apart.
Hmm.
So like, I mean, and you could say that I guess for any age, really, truly, like people who get married at 30 can grow so dramatically over like the 30 to 40 that like
Definitely.
if you're not growing in the same direction, you're really not going to make it.
I read some statistic somewhere. I don't even know if it's true or not, but I like the idea of it. It seems to make sense. Is that we change a lot about who we are, and our brains change a lot over about a 7 year time period. And every 7 years, we kind of go through these, different reemergences and what's important to us and what path and direction we're taking. I know that I am a drastically different person today than I was 7 years ago. And 7 years from that, I'll probably be very different 7 years from now. And not to say that you're not being genuine to yourself, but your goals change. And I think that that changes your direction.
100%. And it doesn't matter. I don't personally think it matters if you guys are going necessarily in the same exact direction. Like if you guys have two different goals and two different lives that you really kind of want to live, it
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're growing together, even if the direction's different, I think
Yep.
it can still evolve and work. So for us, it's been cool because we really kind of, he was married before too. So I think we really kind of took like you said, sort of like stock and like, okay, this is valuable to me and I've
Mm-hmm.
messed this up before. So how do I not mess this one up, and kind
Definitely.
of have to ask yourself those hard questions and then ask each other hard questions as well.
Yeah, you have
You
to really
frozen.
determine what do you want to do differently and what's still super important to you.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we spent the first 5 years doing. Just like trying to figure out well if we were serious and if it would work and if
Yeah.
we and then how to keep it working.
Well,
So that's where we're at in this
I thought it
stage of
was
life.
really neat watching the evolution of your relationship because I don't feel like either of you entered in the relationship with the goals of like, oh, can't wait to get married, can't wait to do this again. And it just truly evolved that way, but slowly and with time. And like your relationship was given the time and the grace to proceed at the speed that it needed to without either of you forcing anything in any which way.
Yeah. I think we both thought it was just going to be like a fling, like a one night stand or like a quick little thing.
Yep.
But we just kept talking and kept hanging out. And then he's like, I think you should move here. And then he's like, I think you should move closer. And then I think you should stay. And then so it did. It was really, really, really slow. We got to the point where it was like, he has two daughters. They're now like 16 and 21. And, at the time they were 8 and 12 when we met.
Hmm.
And so, meeting them and getting to know them and stuff, like we'd been together for like 2 years and they knew me before he told them we were dating, like,
Hmm.
and they were like, yeah, dad, no shit. Like, obviously we see her all the time. Of course you're dating. What are you talking about? Like, it was just one of those things. Like, we thought we were being like, oh, we're just friends and we're just going to keep
Yeah.
it really light and low key. And they were like, obviously that's your girlfriend.
Yep. Oh, they're funny. You can't pull anything over on kids, I'm telling you.
No,
Now, how
you
old
guys are
is
dumb.
your little one now? Because now you guys have a beautiful little baby boy together.
Yes, we do. So, right after Nick had his youngest daughter, so she's 16, he got fixed.
Hmm.
And so he was not, that's another thing. Like, he was not planning on having any more kids. And I was
Yep.
like, this guy isn't the guy because he
Yep.
can't have any kids.
Hmm.
So we were both just like, we're just going to have fun and ride this out. I don't think this is the thing. This is
Yep.
the one. Because I was like, I definitely want to have a kid someday. And he was like, yeah, I'm all done having kids. So we got together and we're dating and everything. And we had like, after being together for about 2 years, I think we sort of had that talk, like, so the kid thing, like,
Hmm.
what's the deal here? And we really didn't even know what the options would be. I really did want to have a kid, and I knew he couldn't because he was fixed, but we talked to a couple that was like, hey, so just FYI, like, we had the same thing going on that you guys do. He had a vasectomy as well. And we did this other procedure,
Hmm.
and it's called the Tessie procedure. You essentially get sperm from above your vasectomy. So
Yep.
it's from your epididymis and they like draw it out.
Hmm.
And then because I guess when you have a vasectomy, you still create sperm, it just
Yep.
dissolves
Yeah,
every
your
day.
plumbing's gone.
Yeah. So the pipes are blocked off.
Yes.
So they can extract it, but it isn't mature. And so,
Hmm.
like, one of the number one things with, sperm's quality is mobility. They
Yes.
check, that's like the first thing they check. Well, if you get them immature, they do not swim at all. They
Hmm.
just float until they dissolve. So when you extract them like that, you have to do IVF. So immediately we had to do like full blown ICSI, like IVF, put the sperm
Yep.
directly into the egg. So did the whole shebang, and it was like a whole ordeal, but it was so cool because it's like I learned so much doing
Oh
the whole
yeah.
process. And, now I'm like, to anybody, I'm like, how old are you? 24? Go freeze your eggs.
Yep.
Like, everybody needs to freeze their eggs. Everybody needs to keep them on ice and make sure that they're healthy, because I did not fully grasp how much the quality of your eggs starts to change once you hit 35, and it just
Oh
starts to
yeah.
like, it's
We
crazy.
our eggs get dusty, you know?
Right. So it's totally possible to get pregnant after 35, but they say like it's really important to make sure you have the healthiest embryo possible. So I'm always telling people, go freeze your eggs. But the thing is that not only that, they also say, like, if you are 50, the chances of you getting pregnant are 75% if you have a healthy embryo.
Wow.
So like you could literally get pregnant at any age if you're able to supply healthy embryos.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the most important part. So we've done several egg retrievals and frozen. So we have a couple eggs on ice now, or actually not eggs, embryos, fully like our sperm and
Yep.
egg together
Ready to go.
to do it again. But we do. We have a 2-year-old and he's actually almost 2.5. And he is like absolutely, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. If somebody would have told me, like, I mean, I'm sure somebody probably did, but if I would have started having kids in my 20s, I don't know if I would have stopped.
Just
As
had a
much as
flop.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, as much as I, I'm so thankful that I waited because I was just like a waste of space in my 20s. I'm so glad I waited because I'm so much more mature. I also think if I would have started earlier, I don't think I would have stopped because I love it so much. It is like so rewarding and so rich and just so cool to have a person that is like every little part of you and the best parts of both. It's just cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
awesome. Nick
I'm
enjoying
enjoying that.
having his first boy.
Yes. He's like, this is so weird. They're so different. Raising boys and girls is so different.
The ability to make engine noises, like every single one of them come out of the womb able to make like gun and engine noises.
And I'm like, where the heck did you hear that from? Like, I don't understand. You're making like full gun sounds that you've never played for you before.
Yep, they just know how to do it. And like that, they're like bulls in china shops. And my nephew is like always covered with bruises. He's just like walking around with like constant head injuries, I swear. Just head first into everything.
Fact.
Just roots. Something I really like seeing on your social media all the time is how much Dimitri loves to model after you guys when it comes to just movement and fitness and jujitsu. You guys are both really big into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which is amazing. Such a fantastic, humbling thing to get involved with. And in what ways do you guys do your balance with your exercise regimens and routines and scheduling now?
So it's really cool because we own a gym that we actually closed down during COVID and we made it private.
Mhm.
So now we just have our own gym for us and our staff, which obviously not everybody has that, but like even if you're able to get a little bit of workout equipment for your own home gym and make a personal
Definitely.
setup for yourself, it is like absolutely imperative. I personally believe to have something like that at your disposal, whether it's in your garage or in your apartment, something with like a little bit of workout equipment, right?
Yeah,
Because for us, like we're so busy and then with having a toddler and everything, like I have to be able to do it at any point of the day. Like
definitely.
sometimes it's like literally right before I go to bed, I'm like, shit, I've got 40 minutes. I got to
Yep.
get it done right now.
Get it
And
in
it's
where
like
you
nine
can.
o'clock or whatever. Food, yes. So like that's like the staple, but then it really just became like absolutely a goal for me to make it a part of his life or Dimitri's life so that he
Hmm.
is just like 100% like this is what we do. This is
Yep.
this is who we are. Like this is our identity. We are people that care about our health and our fitness. So I said no matter what, I'm going to make this my number one goal. I think for everybody's different, right? Like for some people, they work out because they want to look good naked. That's like the
Hmm.
most important thing, right? For me, I always worked out. I've been working out since I was 16 years old. I've been lifting weights and like training since I was 16 years old, but I never really had a why to like push myself to be the best version of myself.
Hmm.
And once I had Dimitri, once I like literally gave birth, I remember thinking immediately, I have to be freaking like a hawk. I have to be on point. I have to be the best version of myself. Because if anybody is to try to harm us or hurt us or whatever, I want to be able to protect him myself. Because Nick travels a lot and things like that. And I have to be able to protect my family, protect myself. And like that became like the blaring why for me. Like, not only do I want him to see me as the best version of myself, my son, like it's so imperative to me that he sees me as the best version of myself, but I also want to be able to protect him like any means necessary. So I, like, because we did it together. Like the way I met Nick, my husband, is because we were trying to, learn basically just like self-defense, basic bare bones of concealed carry and how to shoot, move, and communicate, all that. Well, then I went on to the next level and we did, long range, long gun training, training between pistol and rifle. I've done all those courses with him, but that doesn't do shit if you don't have a rifle on you. It doesn't do shit if you're not carrying a gun. And then
Exactly.
on top of that, if you can't run away from somebody that's like attack you, then what good are you to
Yep. And
yourself,
run
to
with your
your
child
family? Like,
on your hip and in your arms, carrying a load, you know?
right. And it's like, even more than that, it took me to the next level because, like, I know, like, a lot of times people think about that whole element of like, okay, I'm a mama bear, I'm a fierce mama bear, and if anybody fucks with my kid, I'm gonna like rip them apart and all this stuff. Well, like, obviously, that whole sense just like comes over you once you become a mom. Like, even if you're raising, like, I raised my stepkids too, is like I felt that with them as well, but like this was like a new sense of like I am the only person that is solely responsible for this creature.
Yeah.
So like I have to do the very best to be alert, aware, present. I really stopped drinking a lot. Like, I'll drink occasionally once in a blue moon, but honestly, that was like part of my life. I drank a lot, like all the time, like not a ton of alcohol, but I would drink frequent. And
Hmm.
it like made me realize like I don't want to be somebody who is tipsy or drunk if something cracks off and I've got my kid and I'm like having
Yeah.
cocktails at a dinner and I'm
Yep.
just like sloppy.
Exactly.
You
No
know what I
more
mean?
four
Like,
logo weekends.
right. That's something that we should show a picture of. I wish we
Oh
had
my God.
video from that stuff.
I'm
Oh my
telling
God.
you.
But that kind of stuff, like, obviously you're no longer available to react, respond, anything. So like
Exactly.
all these women, I have girlfriends who say that kind of stuff all the time. Like, if anybody ever messed with my kid, I could move a car and I would, beat somebody's ass. It's like, well, no, you wouldn't, because you're fat and out of shape and you
Exactly.
can't keep up with like yourself. You can't like
Hmm.
run on a treadmill, much less run away from like an active shooter scenario.
Yep.
So it became like, honestly, my goal, my most important, um, my why. He became my why, and to be the best version of myself, both physically, mentally, and then just like tactically, everything. I wanted to be able to defend myself and my child. So I started doing jujitsu 6 months postpartum, and it was so hard.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought I was going to die.
Hmm.
I remember my first class, like, I literally, this girl, like, just was smashing the shit out of me. And I thought, like, okay, if I just lay here flat, she'll stop at some point, right? Like, if I just base out and lay my fat butt, like, just flat, she's got to stop. And I mean, I left there thinking, like, that was amazing. I have to do this every single day.
Hmm.
So it just became my new normal. And I spent the next 2 years training every other day, jujitsu, and then the every other day weight training, and just getting in the best shape of my life and making myself not a victim. And
And
that's just been like, honestly, my goal.
and that's fantastic. And I really, what you've been saying about the, your child became your why for you getting as healthy and in shape and able-bodied as you can. From my outside, I'm not a mother. I see a ton of them in my life. And some women will use their children as their excuse and not their why. So they use their child as their excuse for why they don't have time, or why they're too tired, or why they can't. It's always their child is why they can't, and instead of why they can or why they need to. So you took that good stress, that maternal instinct of having that child and having that huge responsibility on your shoulders, and it became your driving force and not your excuse.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
huge. It's
And
huge.
I can't like reiterate it enough. Like if you're not training under a high stress situation with male and female alike, people that are like actually attacking you, then if that happens, there's no way you'll be okay.
No, you're
Like,
going to shut down.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's just there's no other way to put yourself in that circumstance besides putting yourself in that circumstance. And
Mm-hmm.
so learning how to breathe and really keep your cool in the most uncomfortable position possible is like an art. It's completely different than anything you can like simulate other
Yeah.
than just doing it.
Yeah, it's truly overcoming that fight or flight response and becoming in control of it, and being able to still use your brain during that time and your body, all while trying to still
It
have
is,
oxygen go to
it
your
is
brain.
exactly. And it is absolutely, I mean, it is absolutely awesome. I love it. So it helps because I love it. I always tell my
Yeah,
girlfriends, like, you got to find something you love that you're going to stick with. Because if
definitely.
you don't love it, you're not going to stick with it. Right.
Yep.
So obviously, that's like got to be a key component of it for you. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, for us, it is absolutely one of the best things I ever did. Not to mention, like I never really felt like I fit in with other women growing up and everything. I just really didn't, because I just didn't really care about the things that they cared about. It
Mm-hmm.
was like growing up, my girlfriends and stuff, like I never really understood the things that they cared about. So it didn't really like, I didn't connect with them a lot. And I was always kind of a struggle because I always felt a little bit like an outsider. And I wasn't one of those girls that was like, well, I just have so many guy friends. Like I liked guys too, but like I wasn't just like hanging out with dudes all the time. I just
Yeah.
felt a lot like an outsider. Even though I could like make friends anywhere I went, I didn't really feel like I connected on a like, a really deeper level with a
Yeah.
lot of people. And what was amazing is when I found jujitsu, like it absolutely blew my mind, because the women who are interested in rolling around and getting sweaty and fighting each other are my people. I
Yep.
didn't even know.
That's great. That's so good that you were able to find a community that you really felt that you could truly be a part of and really feel like yourself. And that's so important. And I've said that with the couple of fitness episodes that I've done so far. Everybody always comes back to saying you need to find something that you love to do. You're not going to stick with it if you don't love it, and you have to get that mental fulfillment as well as physical.
Yeah, for sure. It has to be something that like it matters to you more than just looking good naked. Like I
Exactly.
said, that can't be your why. If that's your why, you won't stick with it. You won't go outside when it's cold outside and do
Hmm.
burpees in the snow. Like if you just
Exactly.
want to look good naked, that's not going to drive you to the next stage of like taking it to the next level. You won't be able to do
Yes.
that if that's your why. Your why has to be more serious than that. Whatever it is for you, I think, for everybody, it's different. For me, obviously, my son is the huge component of it, but also just not being a target, not being a victim, not being somebody that's sloppy or like that. I literally could be ready for anything at any time.
Yeah,
That's
and
just
because
what's
you have that
important to me.
confidence, you're going to exude that confidence. And a predator may look at you and be like, that ain't the one.
Right.
That
Well,
ain't the
I can
one.
tell you this. We had hold on one second. I'm going to open my blinds because it's getting dark in here. Hold on. If that helps at all, maybe not, maybe, I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, it's good.
So we had very sad, very, very sad situation. We have a little local shop down the street that I go to a lot. It's like a little like CBD dispensary. We don't still have weed legal here in North Carolina, but we have like little, CBD shops or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I went in there, and I had this thought before, because I typically don't really like to take Dimitri in places like that, just in case
Hmm.
it's like, who knows, it's going to be in there, whatever.
Yeah.
So I had the thought to go drop him off to my mother-in-law first. So I went, called her, dropped him off over there, and then went to this little hemp shop. Um, my friend works there, so I sat in there with her for a little bit. We talked, hung out. I bought some stuff and I left. Within 6 hours, I saw an article like alert on my phone that somebody went in there literally 2 seconds after I walked out and stabbed her to death.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like, I was like trying to like wrap my head around it. And see, like when I read the article, it was like just still a manhunt thing. And they didn't say she
Yeah.
was dead.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and then they said the time. And I was like, I was
Just
just
there.
there. And I looked at my receipt and it was literally the time that I was in there. So then
Wow.
I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like calling everyone that knows anything in our area. I have two friends that are cops, and I'm like,
Hmm.
hey, what's going on? Like, is she dead? Is no, my friend dead? And trying to get the scoop. And I did, and I found out she did. He stabbed her to death, but literally it was just some wacko kid. There's like, I say kid, he was 21. He lived down the street from us, and he said he was hearing voices and stuff like that. And he went in with just a backpack on and asked her to come from behind the counter to help him with something, and then just started stabbing her.
Just
It
a
wasn't
random
even
act of violence.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally, like, no reason, no rhyme
Yep.
or reason. I think he did ask her for money from the register, and then he killed her. So, and
Wow.
this is what was crazy. It was the middle of the day. It was like 5 p.m. or something.
Yep.
It was, still daylight because it was summertime. There was 75 people, because there's like a bar right there. There's an ice cream shop. There's like all these little touristy little shops right by it,
Hmm.
all right there. This dude comes running out covered in blood. Nobody sees it. And she's laying in there until the next customer comes in.
Oh my God.
And I'm like thinking, like, holy shit, man. Like, first of all, who knows what she could have done? I have no idea if there's anything she could have done different.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
other than just not come from behind the counter and tell him to get the fuck out, and like, because he's being weird, right? But she was always just like that. She was like a big hippie. And so she was like one of those people that's always like inviting people, oh, come back and use our bathroom. That's fine. Like,
Yeah.
she would have invited him in the back to let him use the
Thinks the best
bathroom
of
because
people.
yeah, totally kind, totally sweet. And I'm just thinking, okay, so first of all, he walked there. So he had been there who knows how long. This is the other thing that she used to do that used to drive me crazy. And I used to tell her not to do it. She would sit out front because it was like a beautiful night or something. And like,
Hmm.
there's so many people. She just liked to people watch. So she'd sit out front, right? And just sit in the chairs and wait for customers. Well, in my mind, I'm thinking, if you sit out here, if anybody's watching you sit out here, they know when you're alone, because
Yeah.
they see like people, they see you go in with a customer, help them, and then
Hmm.
they see the person leave. They know when you're alone.
Yep.
So in my mind, this guy had to have been watching. He had to have been watching and seen that I was in there with her
Hmm.
and waiting for me to leave because she was sitting outside when I got there. So I went in there and I left, and it just like, honestly, that all I could think was, God, I'm so glad I took Dimitri to his grandma's.
Yep.
One, Because if I had had a toddler with me, it could have been a little bit different scenario. I could have been a
All
little bit
around.
more of an easy target.
Yep.
Two, that exact thing. Like I try to always walk with intention when I am going somewhere. I don't try to be on my phone when I'm walking in
Hmm.
and out of my car into places. Like I just go where I'm going. If I need to get my phone out, I get inside, back up
Hmm.
to a wall, check my messages or whatever, and try not to be like an completely unaware doofus, right?
Exactly.
But I'm like, this happens all the freaking time. We live in like the smallest freaking little town on an island on the beach. Like this kid is like, oh, just a wacko.
Hmm.
There was
And the
nothing
world
that
is
like
full of them.
anybody had any indication.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know if there's anything else she could have done to make herself less of a target, but I do
Yeah.
know that if it was me in that position, I would have tried to have been the most aware version of myself I could have been,
Hmm.
and then prepared myself for anything. Like seeing all the photos of this kid after and everything, I'm like, he's just like a turd.
Yeah.
Like if somebody like that pulled a knife out on me, well, for one, if I would have had a weapon like a gun on me, it would have been a different story, right? But like
Yeah.
if I didn't and somebody's trying to attack me with a knife, I don't know exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you get to that like level of preparedness other than training? Like
Exactly.
you have to train.
And just having your own,
So,
especially with jujitsu,
anyways,
your body awareness, your body mechanics, knowing how to manipulate other people's limbs and bodies, it's huge. It's huge in self-defense. And I think that BJJ gives you more self-defense than any self-defense class that you could take, or boxing or striking. Like, especially as a female, you're not gonna punch your way out of a situation with an adult male. You're not going to,
right.
whereas something like jujitsu, your size of course will still matter to some degree, but you at least now hold a chance at saving yourself or saving somebody else, or at least taking somebody down in a way that could save your life.
Just
It's a little
enough
bit more of an
to create enough
equalizer.
space, right? To create enough space for you to get away.
Exactly.
Not to be a fucking hero or like do
Hmm.
something cool.
Yep.
Like honestly, like we have taught at our gym they've done several self-defense courses as well as just the regular
Hmm.
jujitsu, and it's very very different because
Yes.
self-defense, especially for women, it has more to do with getting the fuck away,
Yeah. Make
right?
space and hightail it out.
Get out.
Hmm.
The only thing that's different, and this is just the question that I asked over and over again when we were going through some of the self defense course, was okay, that's awesome. But what if my child is present
Hmm.
and I need not only to get them away and away from a threat, but you know what I mean? We both
Yeah.
have to run.
Yep.
Or let's say they have my kid and then we
Hmm.
have to actually neutralize it. So it's
Yeah.
like, there's just so much. And I don't feel like I'll ever fully be the best at that. Like it's going to be the rest of my life. I'm
Yep.
going to be training for it for the rest of my life.
And that's a good
Period.
way to look at it, though. You're
Yeah.
constantly going to be in a state of self improvement and just always aware. And I think just being aware in general of your own self, being self aware, being situationally aware, all of that's just going to make you a better person and less of a target.
100%. And there's nothing more honestly rewarding than training that way for me. I feel like that changed the game for me. It's something I should have been doing my entire life as a teenage girl when I was struggling with like my identity
Hmm.
and playing the like, anorexic, I don't eat food game and like chasing boys and hoping boys would chase me and all these things.
Yeah.
Had I had something like that to really, really give myself a sense of achievement and a sense of purpose at such an early age, I really think it could have like changed the course of my life in a lot of ways. And that's why, Nick and I help a lot with the kids classes and he helps with the teens classes and things like that. Starting January 10th, our gym is going to be offering toddler jujitsu
Oh, that's
stuff.
great.
It's just jujitsu play
Yeah.
to kind of get them like understanding terminology,
Yep.
teaching them how to listen to instructions and play on the
Hmm.
mat. It's not anything that's like, there's no actual wrestling or jujitsu involved because it's just for toddlers,
Yep.
but it's an intro to it to
Yeah.
really help them pique their interests and see if they have an interest in it.
Yep.
And so I'm going to be teaching that with some of my friends. One of my girlfriends is a gymnast and she's a cop.
Oh, perfect.
And so she does jujitsu. We train together. So she's going to be teaching the kids and I'm going to be helping her. And I'm just so excited about it. I don't think I've ever been so excited about something in a long time because it's just
Oh,
very,
that's
very
great.
cool. But
That's great. I think that incorporating jujitsu as a teenager, it's like I think of like teenage girls, like that's got to be such an invaluable tool for your self-confidence and to help with self-esteem issues and to just give yourself value and to think about things in a different manner than just being self-absorbed with, like you said, boys and appearance and trying to be skinny and keep up with the Joneses. It's such a humbling art that there's no better way to build you up than to break you down first.
absolutely. And you know, it's awesome that it's a fitness tool, right?
Yeah.
You're getting in shape when you're doing it. But like that's just the icing on the cake because it's so much more. And I try to express that to all my girlfriends when I try to pull them in.
It's got to be
It's
so
like
great for anxiety too.
oh my God, yeah. So that's probably one of the number one things that I've accomplished and overcome in the last 2 years is just I've always struggled with anxiety. I'm somebody that was on anxiety medication and, dealt with, you know, to the point I did a podcast with my husband last week where we talked about it. I was at a place where I literally threw up every single day for a couple years from anxiety and just not being able to handle my body's response to stressful situations.
Hmm.
And it's literally like you're putting yourself in the most stressful situation
Yeah.
possible and teaching yourself how to calm the fuck down
Yeah, it's the
and to
big
be.
time desensitization and just exposure therapy at its highest form.
And then that mixed with, I mean, the other thing that we've been doing that's really, really helped a ton is, just cold therapy with ice baths and stuff. So
Mm,
we have a cold plunge now, but even before we got that, the
yep.
last couple years, we really been working on that. And that is like gives your central nervous system just like an absolute shock. And it's like
Yes.
the same exact feelings I've experienced having a panic attack. Like it feels the same when you get into a
Oh,
cold tub.
oh
It's
yeah.
like,
Hmm.
you're just like, oh my God, oh my God. And working yourself through that and taking control of your thoughts
Yeah,
and
calming yourself
breathing,
down.
all that.
Definitely. Oh, I have such a love-hate relationship with cold plunge. I used to do that after my workouts. We'd bring the stock tank out into the parking lot, fill it up with the hose, put your bags of ice in, and coach tosses you in and you sit there with full, yeah, it's like a full panic attack of like like it can't even breathe, can't like everything is just like all at once. Every feeling and emotion that you could possibly feel, but nothing feels better than when you get out.
Right.
Nothing feels better than when you get out. That endorphin rush, that sense of accomplishment, knowing that you just conquered those couple of minutes that you spent in that water and you did something good for yourself. I mean, you feel great for the rest of the day. So I'm a huge proponent of it, and I'm horrifically jealous of the cold plunge tub that you have. That is like, oh, oh, that's like the
It
nicest
is
one on the
a it
market.
is a
So nice.
love, like you said, love
Yep.
hate. Like it's here, and so I can't like be like, well, I have to go get
Yeah.
ice,
Yep.
or well, I. It's like
So that's the way
no,
to
it's
do
here, and
it.
you
Have
got to
it
get in it.
ready. No excuses.
Uh-huh.
Now, do you do
Uh-huh.
any heat therapy, like any like infrared sauna or regular sauna or anything like that?
Yeah, we have an infrared sauna, and I can honestly say, like, every little ounce of anything that I've ever picked up. Even when I got COVID, you know, all
Hmm.
that stuff. I like, I can't say for sure the science behind it because I am not a doctor, but
Yeah.
I got in there and sweated out every day and it was gone in 3 days.
Fantastic. I mean, the
I did
whole
not
science
have
behind
any.
the heat shock proteins, I mean, it's there. And especially if you're doing alternating with your heat shock and your cold shock, I mean, you are revving your body to like maximum potential.
So yeah, we do that. And then we have a hot tub as well. So we've kind of just set up our life. You know, people act like, oh, that stuff's so expensive. And it's like, well, yeah, it's expensive, but so is all the other bullshit that people spend money on that we don't. So
It's
it's
for
like,
your health and your wellness. You're not spending it on going out to the bars every weekend and on, going clubbing and this and that. Like this is
yeah,
money that you're investing into yourself for your recovery.
yep,
And anybody that is a part of, a fitness journey knows or should know just how important your recovery is. It's just as important, almost if not more important than what you're actually doing in the gym. You need to have good sleep. You need to have, good practices with mobilization and heat therapy, cold therapy, all of those things. So I'm a huge proponent of investing in your health and being preventative.
100%.
So you
I'm
can,
sorry. It looks like I'm like losing complete light here. I'm in the dark.
your face is
I'm
still
like,
illuminated here.
okay, good. I'm like trying to figure out how to turn the light on because it's everything's on hue. And I'm like, I don't know how to turn this light on in this office. It doesn't have like a switch anymore.
No worries. We're still looking okay.
Okay.
So what do you guys do anything for supplementation? Any kind of supplements that you
So,
love?
so Nick is sponsored by BPN and so that's pretty much all we have as far as supplements go.
Mhm.
But I've, gotten to the place where I think honestly, as soon as I'm done with having a kid, we're going to try to put another embryo in sometime this year and have another
Mhm.
baby.
Excellent.
As soon as I am through that process, I will probably, depending on what my body needs, get back on testosterone and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I did get on it for a while and I loved the way that it made me feel. I loved having the recovery and all the benefits of that. And, Nick is on with Core Med. So we do, he is on testosterone, but I am not currently just because we don't want to mess with my system before we do an
Yeah, just
IVF
system
round.
optimize, go back to factory settings.
Yeah.
Get all
I was
ready.
like, I'll get back on everything
Yes.
whenever I'm done, but
Oh
I just
yeah.
don't want to mess anything up because it is so like there's like they when you do IVF, they do a full panel and then they have to put you on like every fertility drug imaginable.
Hmm.
It's like
Oh
you're
yeah.
like a walking explosion of
Yeah.
emotion at all times.
Yeah, you are fully biohacked at that moment. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Testosterone's so great, and not just for men. A lot of women are finally starting to realize the benefits of utilizing testosterone because, like, we have it. It's one of our hormones too. It's the predominant one in men, but it's still super important for us and how we feel and how we function and recover and our mental health and our sex drives and everything. It's so important for that too. So I love hearing
I
about
mean,
women that are not just perimenopausal utilizing testosterone.
I was on it even in like my early 30s. Just I got recommended to start taking it
Yep.
and it was phenomenal. I've never understood fully how like men can train as much as they do and as hard as they do and not feel like shit. Cause I
Yep.
was like, man, I feel like I'm going to pass out. I like, if I'm doing the same cycle of training as a guy and I just am like, I'm going to crash and burn. And I was getting sick all the time,
Yep.
like colds and flus and stuff like that. And I was like, geez, what is my deal? Well, so I got on testosterone and realized like how obviously low mine was at the time
Yep.
because it made it to where I was able to recover like immediately. The next morning, I was ready to go again.
Hmm.
Like just felt phenomenal. So I do think it's kind of leveled out since I've had a kid and everything because I don't feel as wiped as I used to.
Hmm.
But like I would love to get back on it as soon as I'm done with all
Yeah.
this.
No, that's great. So are you guys planning on doing one more or potentially a little bit more of a clan?
I think one is good just because,
Yeah.
I'm 37. I'm about to be 38. I'm not trying to like win any awards for the oldest mom in the planet. But I do just absolutely love it. I'm not the hardest part for me about being pregnant. I mean, obviously, like when you do IVF and stuff, they make you take a bunch of like hormones all the
Yeah.
way
This
to
make you
like
feel like
10
shit.
weeks. You just feel like you're gonna like throw up every 5 seconds. Like you're
Yeah.
just nauseous the whole time. I didn't care because I was so excited to be pregnant.
Yep.
But like the hardest part about pregnancy for me was just the end being fat. I was just like, I can't stand being this fat anymore. I'm like, I feel horrible because I'm huge. But,
Oh.
it really is true. Like, it just comes right back off. Like,
Hmm.
if you're training and taking care of yourself throughout, you can really just turn right back around and get it right the fuck off. It's not
Totally.
like, I mean, in my opinion, I got bigger than I should have for the last one. But honestly, I started heavier than I should
Hmm.
have. I was like 20 pounds overweight when I got pregnant. Part of that was just dealing with all the IVF stuff in the beginning. And I just
Yeah.
wasn't really like, I was just not being real um purposeful with my calories and things like that.
It'll be super
So I was,
interesting to see how you go with this course, going into it
yeah,
with such a different just physical composition and training regimen and just like I mean everything start to finish. I feel like you're going to have like you're just like set up to succeed and just
yes,
kick ass with this.
I agree. I'm excited. I'm excited to do it again because I'm excited for the outcome, right? But like,
Yeah.
I'm not excited to be huge, but I love the result. So,
Will be so great. Oh, if we'll back way up to before we had our glitch in our recording about looking good naked, you have also accomplished that by competing in your first bikini competition this year. Like, hell yeah, girl. That was awesome to watch
so
you
you
go
know
through that
what?
process.
We had a failed IVF attempt in March, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I want to take a break.
Yep.
I'm tired of shots and injections and all the
Yep.
crap that you have to do. I said I just want to take the next, 8 months or whatever and just get in the best shape of my life and focus on that for a little bit and not
That's
focus
awesome.
on all that. So
Yep.
I did it because I've always wanted to do it. And I dropped like all in all, it was like 30 something pounds of
Good
fat.
for you.
And I kept my muscle on, which was incredible. And I can honestly say, like, it was a great experience, but I honestly loved the process more than the actual doing it.
Hmm.
Like, when it comes to competing, like jujitsu competitions for me are just like the end all be all. Like, I can lose and get my ass beat, and I'm still
Yeah.
like, that was so much fun. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I loved it. But and I'm not trying to be like disrespectful to the people who do these as a sport because,
Yeah.
like, bikini competitions, fitness competitions, it is hard fucking work. So anybody who does this for real, like, don't take this the wrong way. But like, I really loved training for it more than doing it.
Yeah. Being
It
on the stage
was,
wasn't so much as satisfying as, yeah.
it's like, especially for somebody who has any sort of like body issues, like
Oh,
from their
yeah.
past. I mean, like,
Oh,
you
you
are just
couldn't pay
standing
me enough. Oh my God. I give you so much credit for doing that. I give you so much credit. Like that has to be so just mentally difficult to do.
it is hard because you are staring at your body every single day.
Yeah.
And like, what was sucked about it the most, I think, is that like I looked better than I ever looked in my whole life, but I
Yep.
still was looking at myself. So I wasn't even enjoying it because
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, there's like 6 ounces of like too much water here. I've got to dry out. Why, like you're obsessing over like these
Yes.
tiny little things on your body
Yeah.
that like normally you would never give a shit about
And you'd be
because it's
so
like you look
happy for your progress.
right. And
Yeah.
instead, you're like, I have to stand next to all these women. I have to
Yep.
flex my ass off. I need to look better than I look right now, you know?
Yep.
And then when you get up to do it, it's like you're there all day. It's an 8-hour day. You're on stage and you're bucking in your underwear and heels.
Yep.
It's freezing cold. You don't have any body fat to keep you warm. You're
Hmm.
starving because you can't eat or drink anything all day. It's torture.
Yep. No, I mean, I know quite a few women and a couple of men that have gone through the process of competing in bodybuilding in one way or another, whether it's bikini or figure or, any of those. And honestly, like 99% of them, when all is said and done, all say the same thing of being like, I love the fitness aspect of it. I loved getting in shape. But what killed them was the mental mind fuck of the body dysmorphia that it creates. Even when you're at your peak and you've never been better, you're still so hypercritical of yourself that they all kind of took a step back and were like, I can't do this anymore for my own mental health. Like, I love working out, I love being healthy, but like taking it to that next level was just like really mentally difficult to keep swallowing over and over.
Exactly. And then knowing that like you're going in and you're looking at the people around you and you're judging them and you too, like, do
Yeah.
I look better than they do? That's just
Hmm.
gross.
Totally.
It's like, eh.
Totally. And you know what? And that
But
that
it
bridges into aesthetics really well too, because in my world of aesthetics and injectables and lasers and everything that we do with skincare, it's easy for some people to get obsessive about it. Like, I do it for my living, and I'd say probably 2 or 3 years into practicing, I couldn't look at anybody in my life, anybody that I passed in the store without figuring out their Botox units in my head, And like, of course, part of it is just, it's what I do. I'm used to assessing faces, but like it was starting to drive me crazy. And I'm like, this isn't healthy that all my eyes are doing is fixating on symmetry and volume loss and wrinkles and skincare and spots and everything. And I took like a step back from things and I changed the way that I practice, aesthetic medicine now. And it's not about perfection. It's not about, every single patient being perfect and we have to fix every little thing. Like, it's not about that. And I don't think that that's healthy. I think it's about, let's focus on the things that truly bother you and let's make those things better. And it's okay to still have a wrinkle or a smile line or a sunspot. Like, it's what makes us human, and that we actually look really freaking strange if we look perfect. If we are somebody in our 30s and 40s and 50s that have like not a single wrinkle on our face and just look porcelain and perfect, that's weird. And we're going to stand out in a very strange way to people that's going to look very alien and very mannequin like and not human. So I actually like now some of the little imperfections, and it's about balancing people's expectations for aesthetics. And like, if they want perfect, don't come to me. Okay. Like, it's just what it is. It's not my aesthetic eye anymore. I've changed how I practice out of just what I think is my personal responsibility for ethics and doing this ethically and doing it responsibly for people and trying to set the right tone for expectations. And so I think that that's, part of it. We can look at fitness and bodybuilding and everything and focus on being so perfect, or focus on a couple of things that just make us better and feel good. And once we feel good, we can, continue to maintain and work on other things that are going to make us better and healthier without shooting for like that constant need for perfection.
that's a great way to put it, because it's like ultimately, and I'm so thankful for your help, by the way, because I send her pictures and I'm like, what would you do to my face? How
We've
do I
done some
fix it?
virtual consultations.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't I don't know. It's like you don't really know what you don't know. So like you just know you look different. You
Mhm.
know you're aging and you don't really know what's like in my mind. I'm like, I don't exactly know what's changed.
Yep.
I mean, obviously I have wrinkles, that's obvious, right? But I don't really know what exactly's changed and why my face looks different. And
Yeah.
I
What's the
don't really know
cause?
exactly. Yeah, how do I fix this? I just want it
Yes,
to look healthy again. I feel like it
totally.
looks dreary.
And I think that skin health is so important. And that's another thing that I've really kind of refocused my commitment to my patients with, is it's like, enough with like just jumping straight to the cosmetic things. It's like, let's make your skin as healthy as it can be. Because if your skin is healthy, you're going to look healthy and younger and fresher, and people aren't going to be looking at this tiny little wrinkle or a slightly, a 1 millimeter deeper smile line that you have now than you did 5 years ago. So skin health is so, so important. And it's one of our organs. We need to take good care of it, sunscreen and all of that. But yeah, it's like work on your skin health, and then all the other rejuvenation comes, and then everything else is little cherries on top that you can kind of play around with, like little cheek filler, awesome, lip filler, cool. But like if we're not taking care of our skin and making our skin super healthy, like what's the point?
Exactly. And that's kind of part of the reason why too, like as much as, that the whole bodybuilding game is like amazing and I love it and all of that, it can become like we've talked about already, it can become an obsession. It can take you
Mm-hmm.
down a road you don't really want to go down if you get to that point of like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got to be at this certain level.
Yeah, you got to keep
My
yourself in check.
coach, yes, my coach was incredible. Her name is Allie as well, and instrumental in making sure that like we didn't go too low. I
Right.
really wanted to make sure that I could check my hormones at any point in the journey and make sure
Mm-hmm.
that I was still normal. Everything was
Yeah.
still balanced and
Yep.
I was still having periods and all of that because
Exactly.
I had so many girlfriends who had quit having their periods, which essentially means they're malnourished,
Mm-hmm.
and like they just want to look a certain way so bad that they don't really care at what cost.
Yep.
And so we really we did a deep dive with a deficit in the beginning, and then we brought my calories back up. So
Mm-hmm.
by the end of it, I really wasn't in an uncomfortable place. My deficit wasn't so uncomfortable that I was like hurting. It was really okay. It was just
Amazing.
like, yeah, I was able to function still. And that was what was most important to me. I didn't
Yeah.
care as much about winning as I did about making sure I was okay and could still
Mm-hmm.
have kids at the end of the journey.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like, come
Yeah.
on now.
Nope, that's super important. And if you even look at bodybuilding, like that was your sport that you just competed in and competed for and prepped for. I mean, if you look at like UFC or wrestling or kickboxing or anything that somebody needs to like make weight for, if you are like uber dieting down at the bottom, like now it's performance day, you're going to crash and burn and you're not going to be able to perform and you're not going to be able to be your best because you're so depleted. It's like if I feel like you did it the right way of like, okay, nice stepwise down, still be able to, work out and maintain. Like, I highly doubt you needed a chaperone at the end to make sure that you stayed upright and weren't passing out left and right, like I've heard stories of before. So, like, your coach
Fucking
did it
crazy.
right with you and keeping you healthy and keeping you supported, nutritionally throughout the whole process. So that's awesome to hear because you don't oftentimes hear about really intelligently done bodybuilding coaching. So like hats off to her. Fantastic.
I know. I think people, if they would have known how many calories I was eating at the end, would have been like, what the hell? Like,
Jealous.
how in the world? I was
No,
like,
that's
sorry.
awesome. So to back up into some aesthetic stuff, if you're comfortable chatting with us about it, what are some of the things that you've done?
Yeah. So hold on. Let me see if I can turn the slide on. Hey, Google, turn the office lights to white. All right, changing two lights to white. Is that better? Okay, so I've had pretty much everything you told me to get done, I had done.
What a good girl.
Um yeah, I know. I mean, I have still like, some like we talked about some skin spots and stuff. I
Hmm.
was one of those women that was just like all through the 90s and into the 2000s like in tanning beds
Oh
every
yeah.
other day. Like
Yep.
I love the sun. I
And you
lay
live on the
out
beach, you know?
dude, I was like, I need to be in the sun as much as possible. Thanks. So I've been in the sun as much as possible, like
Yep.
completely baked my skin off. So still have some skin spots and stuff that we've dealt with, but I've done a chemical peel. I've done the IPL,
Hmm.
the IPL. what's the one where I'm sorry, I'm so bad at this.
Do
This
you
is
do
gonna
radio
you're gonna have to help
frequency,
me. Yes, and I
the
did the needling.
microneedling? Yep.
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 With
Those are all
the
awesome.
frequency.
Yep.
Yes. I get Botox done pretty regularly. I need to get some more done, but I've done it all through here.
Hmm.
I've done lip filler and I've done filler through here on both sides.
Hmm.
I've had breast augmentation. Um, I think that's it. But the one thing that I've like been back and forth about is because I do have really like hooded eyelids. And as I get older, they start to kind of like droop and stuff like that. And I've
Girl,
noticed it,
same.
it's like a thing. So one of the things that my injector has done is really focused on the spots up here that can kind of help lift,
Hmm.
do almost like a little brow lift naturally
Yep.
with the Botox. And that helps a lot. Like I said, I need to get it done again because I can start to see some movement, but like
Yep.
I try to keep that going pretty regularly. And then the filler pretty regularly. The one thing I've noticed that I like a lot is when they inject in the filler into my Cupid's bow.
Yeah.
So it's maintains that lip line. That
Yep.
makes a big difference to me.
Totally. I love, not even like love what you're doing for a nice, well-rounded, skincare preventative anti-aging. You're hitting it with IPL lasers to help with pigmentation, which I also just love for skin health because sometimes you can get rid of some precancerous things with that. So great for overall skin health and decreasing your risk for skin cancer. Doing radio frequency microneedling, you're hitting your collagen and elastin. You're also helping just regulate a lot of different growth factors in your skin, which is going to help with pigmentation, with pores, with skin quality. I mean, you name it, you're hitting it. Botox, perfect for hitting the dynamic line. So anywhere that's being caused by muscle movement, I'm pretty fully kicked in. So I don't have too much going on here. And then doing some filler. Filler is great because we're going to start to lose volume. I mean, we're going to start to lose volume in our 20s. After you hit age 20, 21, you're losing about 1% of collagen every year. So now that we're in our, mid late 30s, we're seeing more collagen loss. Did you notice any changes in your facial volume as you were losing weight going through your prep?
Yes, but honestly, like the biggest like difference I found in my face changing as far as volume and everything was being pregnant and then I know everybody says it and I don't even understand why, but after you
Hmm.
have a kid, your face changes so much and everybody
Yeah.
says that. So like obviously I didn't do any Botox while I was pregnant. So I went that
Hmm.
whole time without it. And so that was just like atrocious in and of
Yeah.
itself. I was like, ah, for both the pregnancy and breastfeeding. So I didn't do anything during those times.
Yep.
And then so after that, and then losing all that weight from having a
Hmm.
baby was when I was just like, holy cow, what do I
Yeah.
do with my face?
Yep. A
Because it
lot of
felt like
people
it.
will lose volume here in the buccal fat area. We'll lose it in temples
So I noticed more of a big change at that point than I did when I just lost weight for the show.
for prep. Oh,
Because
good.
I think I was at that point from where I was when I started my cut, I'd already gotten a ton of stuff done because I
Yeah.
had the baby done with breastfeeding and I
Yep.
started doing all the work on my face. So
Good.
then once I slipped into like losing weight for the show,
Hmm.
I didn't feel like it looked horrible.
No,
It
not at
was
all.
really more drastic postpartum.
Yeah.
Like
Yep, that
I
makes
was
sense.
just
Those
like,
are a lot bigger fluid shifts too.
and what I mean, oh man, I just I don't know exactly. We probably should have a consult about it before I do it again. But like, if there's anything preemptive you can do, when you're about to get pregnant versus when you are pregnant, and how you can address kind of that some of that stuff that's going to change with your face.
Yeah. So some things that you can do to kind of prep your skin for pregnancy is, one, get on a really good daily skincare regimen. And sometimes that's even getting prepared with a regimen that you can maintain while you're pregnant and breastfeeding because a lot of skincare products you can't use during that time because of certain ingredients in them. They don't vibe with babies. So it's finding a really good, high quality medical grade regimen that you can maintain throughout. A lot of the products that I love, like from ZO Skin Health, you can't use while you're pregnant because a lot of what ZO has contains retinols and salicylic acid. So there's certain products that you can get started on, get your skin comfortable with it. Hitting yourself with some good microneedling, whether it's the microneedling with radio frequency or just basic skin pen style microneedling with PRP, with exosomes, anything like that. Do a series. With you have the benefit of like knowing when you're going to do your embryo transfer. So like you can be doing these things right up and being like, all right, that's going to be the day, in these months leading up to, I've got my skin optimized, because each time that you're going to do a collagen stimulating procedure, you're going to get that stimulation for about 6 months afterwards. So if you get microneedled or lasered, right before you do your embryo transfer, or, plan on getting pregnant, I mean, you've got some good collagen stimulation happening through a good chunk, 2/3 of your pregnancy. So you're already kicking ass with that. When it comes to Botox, there's a ton of women that get Botox and then find out they're pregnant afterwards. So I don't know what the data would be on like, okay, oh, I got my Botox done in January and I got pregnant in February. You know, Technically, yes, that molecule is still in your body. And I think the ideal recommendations would be is if you are trying to get pregnant to not be doing some of those procedures, because Botox is going to stay in your body for about 3 months. With that being said, I don't think anything drastically horrible has happened with those people, because I mean, it's like people that, drink, not trying to get pregnant, they're going out having a glass of wine on the weekend and then find out they're pregnant. Odds are it's going to be okay, but there's no data on these things because we can't test on pregnant women, especially with elective cosmetic things. Same with filler. Can't do it. Filler's probably okay, but again, it's hard no from me. If somebody's pregnant or breastfeeding, not going to happen. But doing your collagen stimulation, microneedling, all of that, perfectly good leading up to maximize your collagen. If you really want to knock it out of the park, I adore Sculptra. So Sculptra is an injectable and it's a biostimulator. So it's going to cause your body to create its own collagen. And it's a global type of a treatment where we're going to treat kind of the temple area. We'll hit the cheeks, the preauricular space back through here. We'll do it in through the smile lines. It really depends on where we're seeing volume loss in that particular patient. We do it about once every 6 weeks. For somebody in their 30s, we're going to do it probably 2 to 3 times, spaced every 6 weeks. And then you're going to see final collagen stimulation from that about 3 months later. That's a long lasting natural type of a fill. So because it's not a true filler, when it's in your body, it's polylactic acid. It's going to stimulate your body to make its own collagen. So you're going to volumize naturally. And so it's going to be a lot more natural looking, and it's going to last you for over 2 years. So that's a really nice way to prep your face, to get kind of volumized and to improve the quality of your skin as well before. And there will be no detrimental effects while you're pregnant with that, but it'll carry you through, a couple years with that. So you're good while you're pregnant, you're good while you're breastfeeding, and probably good even a little bit after that too. So Sculptra is one of my favorite things, and it's an
That's
awesome,
amazing.
awesome
I need to
procedure.
find that somebody
Yeah.
that's here that does.
Yes,
That sounds
Sculptra is
amazing.
fantastic. And Sculptra is nice because you not only get volume out of it, you're also going to get improvements in your skin quality too. So you'll get like what I call the Sculptra glow, where your skin gets really glowy and just looks super healthy. It looks like you've done all these amazing things to your skin and all you did was get injected. It's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's, after, because you go through that period of like you gain a bunch of weight, you lose a bunch of weight, you're breastfeeding, and you just kind of look like you're losing all your hair,
Yep.
and you're losing all of like your skin's like dull and because the baby's eating all your nutrients, and you just start
Exactly.
looking like terrible.
Sucking
And
the
then I
life
go
out of
and
you.
got everything done. It's like the day I stopped breastfeeding, I had an appointment for Botox. I was like,
I'm telling you. Yep.
yeah,
I have a
I'm
lot of
like,
patients
let's
that do
go.
that. They're like, I stopped yesterday. I'm like, perfect.
And it's amazing because then, like, within a month, everybody was like, what did you do to your face? It looks amazing. Your face has changed so much.
Like it
I'm
has
like,
its own nutrition back.
I'm like, yeah. Duh. It
Oh,
looks
that's
amazing
funny.
now because I'm back on track.
Oh, that's great.
Uh,
All right. So, what I want to do with you is some of my quick fire questions. So, these are kind of like
okay.
modeled after like the Vogue magazine. Give me the first thing that comes off your mind. That doesn't need to be anything super intricate. Some of them are
Okay,
very,
I'll
very
do my
basic.
best.
All right. What's your favorite color?
Green,
Coffee or tea?
coffee.
How do you take it?
I honestly love nitro
I love nitro too. So
because I
good.
don't have to put any cream and sugar or anything in it. It's
Yeah.
just like kind of creamy, you know?
Totally. What's your
I bought a
favorite
nitro keg.
breakfast? I love. Oh, did you? I want to get one. I almost got one for Christmas this year, and I was like, no, enough.
It's
Uh,
I'll send you the one. It's so good. It's so good.
awesome. What's your favorite breakfast or way to start the day?
So honestly, I do like strong greens in the morning with like some soda water, and I do
Mhm.
this thing. It's a vitamin C pack. It's from Fat Muscle. It's a brand. I like it because it's super tangy and tart. I drink
Mm,
that first before coffee or anything.
yep.
And then for breakfast every day, I have oatmeal with protein powder.
Hmm, I love that. That's actually.
I do it sort of like have you ever had like do you have a cake pop maker or anything?
Mhm.
So I mix protein powder with oatmeal and a half a cup of water and I make like a paste with it.
Yep.
And then I put it in the cake pop maker and I make these little oatmeal
It's a good
balls.
idea. I used to take
So good.
protein powder and mix it in with plain Greek yogurt.
Oh yeah. Yep. I can put
That's a
protein powder
sliver.
in anything.
Yeah, makes everything better. What do you think is like one of the worst social media trends right now?
I mean, it's just hard because it's like I saw this thing yesterday and it's like so terrible, but it's actually kind of funny. But like it's a teenager thing that they're doing on TikTok
Mhm.
where they're telling like a group of family members, like older family
Oh,
members,
that
that
somebody
some
died.
died.
I saw that they were
I
like,
just
Oprah died.
at 60, whatever. And like at their parents, like they did it to their mom and they told their mom that like John Stamos died and she started crying. And I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. It's probably the worst.
Uh, what's your favorite social media trend right now?
I love, 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 love the reels and how much everybody's getting like to tell stories with them.
Yeah.
Like even the end of year stuff with like 2022, everybody's showing kind of the highlights of their year and
Yep.
sharing their wins. It makes me like want to cry. I'm like, that's so awesome. You did so
Everybody's
much
highlight
this year.
reel.
I love it.
What's your favorite podcast like for just entertainment purposes?
Oh God. Um, I got to be honest, I don't really listen for entertainment. Almost every podcast I listen to is like self work, whatever.
Yep.
So it's hard for me to say for entertainment purposes, but I
What's your
do
favorite like
really.
self-development one?
There's one by Dr. Caroline Leaf. She's also my favorite author, and
Mhm.
she does an exceptional podcast. Everything she does is about like brain psychology. She's a
Mm.
neurologist and a
Mhm.
psychologist.
Oh, very cool.
So that's very good. It's my favorite.
Mm. What's your favorite book of all time?
Also tough because I love so many books. Like it's hard for me to go, okay, this is my favorite like story. I'm not really a fiction reader either.
Mm.
I love self-help books
Read with
like a lot.
purpose.
So I have same thing, Dr. Caroline Leaf. There's one she wrote called Switch on Your Brain, and I really love that. Um, I also love like Boundaries. There's a book called Boundaries by Dr. Jim Richards, and it's kind of about like putting up personal boundaries in relationships and how healthy it is for us to like learn how to draw lines for ourselves. I'm not like when I want to entertainment, I like watch movies and stuff. Like
Well, that leads
everything with
right into
books
the
and
next
media.
one.
Yeah.
What is your favorite movie?
Okay, Shawshank Redemption.
So good.
So
So
good.
good. Classic.
So good. I love that. And I love the movie Frida. Frida
Mm,
Kahlo.
hmm.
They don't have anything, there's no similarities. They're just totally
Not
different,
at
but I love
all.
them both.
Is it a crayon or a crayon?
Crayon,
Is it a pecan or a pecan?
pecan.
Who's your favorite musical artist or solo? Or we can
And
extend
that's
it to
another one where,
music.
yeah, I have probably five, but I'm going to go with Bonnie Raitt because I
Hmm.
love blues. And
Yep.
so it's between Bonnie Raitt, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and probably a newer generation would be Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Hmm, fun. Do you have a favorite non-musical artist? And I extend that into photography as well.
Frida Kahlo as well. I love her super creepy art style.
Favorite
And
food
Diego
or
Rivera,
meal?
honestly, her husband.
Hmm. Your favorite food or favorite meal?
So that's tough because like there's one that's like this is my favorite food to eat every day that I can't eat, and then this is my favorite like bullshit that I can't eat. So my favorite food that I don't get to eat every day is just dirty ass like Mexican food, like
Mm,
greasy American Mexican
yeah.
guacamole,
Mm,
chips, you know,
all of it.
cheese.
All of it.
But what I love that I literally could eat every day is fish. I
Mm,
love, love, love like ahi, salmon, and I could eat it every meal.
love that. Let's see here. What's your favorite place to visit?
Probably Greece.
Mm, where in Greece do you guys go?
My husband's family is from Loutraki, and it's like an hour from Athens. And it might be because, we go every year and his family's there. So, like, you get to do the experience not as a tourist.
Yeah.
It might be why. Because like I've gone a lot of countries and a lot of places and has been a tourist. And I love to travel almost like an exchange student. Like I
Mm,
want to plug in and be a part of their culture
yeah.
and not do anything touristy.
Immerse
And I want
yourself in it.
yeah, I want everybody to speak their language to me and me have to
Yep.
figure out what's going on.
What was your favorite class in high school or college?
Well, in college, I went to film school. And so everything was my favorite. I loved film school. So everything was cool. In high school, I was just lucky that I was there. I don't know.
Be happy I showed up.
Yeah.
Who's your role model?
Ooh, God, I don't want to be super cheesy, but fuck, you can't even play this for the public, I feel like, because everybody's going to make fun of me. I honestly feel like it's my husband. He's so amazing. Um, I feel like it's my husband because of how hard he works to be better.
Hmm.
And when he's being a shitbag, he's like, I'm being a shitbag. I need to do better. I'm sorry.
He
And like,
owns his shipbaggery. That's important.
yes.
Yes.
And we've been through so much shitbaggery, both of us. And he's just never quits. He really doesn't quit. And he's been through so much personal stuff with people. And I've never met anybody who works so hard to get better. And like the worst of the worst, you know how it is? Like, I don't know if you've met people that like legit work on their childhood trauma and
Hmm.
legit work on like their baggage.
Oh, yeah.
He legit has worked on his shit. Like, I can't even express it. It's made me go, okay, what else can I do to be
Yeah.
better? Cause I am like, need to work on my shit.
That's great, though. Like, that's the way that it should be, is that you can just motivate each other without being up each other's asses about it. Like, you need to. It's like, no, I can take responsibility for myself and want to be better and work on myself. And that motivates other people to want to be their best versions. That's awesome.
It's crazy, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's amazing because it's so much. It is like, it's just lots of uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
And like, I think one of the things that, like, if a marriage is going to work and be good, it requires communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a marriage is going to work and be like really good, it requires like exponential, uncomfortable conversations
Yep.
about stuff that you didn't want to ever talk about.
Yep. Getting super comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, my last question here is what everybody wants to know. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Hmm.
100%. And my husband loves vanilla.
Well, that's good. Then you don't have to worry about him stealing your chocolate,
Right. It's really
right?
true.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about that all the time. I'm like, dude, I can save this. Like, I can leave chocolate out everywhere because he
not a
won't touch it.
problem.
Yeah. You don't want
And,
it.
and last but not least, I need you to give me a side profile so everybody can be horrifically jealous of your amazing jawline. Yes,
Oh
people,
boy.
this is natural. This is what she's got. You don't have it. I don't have it. Nobody's got it but Allie, and she didn't buy it. So,
Yeah, it doesn't always look like that though. If you put on weight, it doesn't look like this.
no, then it looks like this.
It's like, honestly though, I really have seen, I feel like the full range of what my face can look like in the last 5 years.
Bro, I'm telling you, I gained 5 pounds. I gained those 5 pounds in my face directly. Like, do not
Oh
pass go
God.
straight to it.
Oh, mine's my ass. So I will tell you this. This is what's nuts. So I thought I had a fat ass this whole time. And then I lost all of the fat from my bodybuilding competition. And I don't have an ass at all. And I was like, it was like, and I was like, what happened to my coach? She's like, yeah, you need to grow your ass because that was just fat. You didn't have
You
any
need
muscle
muscle
back
there.
there. So now I'm that's my goal right now is to build an ass back.
Build a
And
booty.
so I've been working, doing legs 3 days a week to get a
Oof,
butt back.
there you go. Well, if anybody can do it, you can. That's for sure. You set
Thank
yourself
you
to
so
a
much. I'm
goal
so
and
excited
you're
I got to
ahead.
talk to you.
I know, me too. Me too. I miss you so much.
I know we had to schedule a podcast to hang out, catch up.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me on here. And this is gonna be a quick release. Yours is gonna be out this Sunday into Monday at midnight.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
excellent.
thank you so much. And I love you.
I
And
love
I'll
you
see you soon. I
too.
might have to come up there before I get pregnant again. So you can do that sculpa or whatever
Yeah,
it's
let's
called.
do it. Let's sculpture you up, girl.
Okay.
All right. Love you.
Talk to you later.
Just a Pinch podcast was written, recorded, edited, and produced by Kristen Gem.